Hello everyone. My subject today is a bit controversial. It's usually a subject I don't like to talk about because I have really different ideas on the subject. Politics. And how AI will impact politics more precisely. So, personally, I believe our political system are obsolete. When I say obsolete, I really think about like a machine. It's like basically we're in an age where we can use gasoline engine, Teslas, planes, and our political system are still steam engines, maybe even older steam engines, not the steam engines that they were using in the Soviet Union in the mid 20th century when everybody was already converted to diesel, but like older than that, like steam engines that were using to pump water out of those coal mines in the early like 19th century. That's the kind of political system we have. We have really old stuff, and it's time for a change. And I believe for the longest time, I believe that those changes will come progressively or not. I wasn't really optimistic, to be honest. I'm an optimist by nature, but I wasn't really optimistic about that to see it in my lifetime. Because I truly believe that there's not a single country on earth right now, maybe with some exceptions. And even those exceptions are not, they are examples, I guess, for us right now, but in the future, they won't be example. But there is not a single country right now on earth that is truly a democracy. The exceptions I was referring to were probably Switzerland and Germany have really sophisticated political systems that are way more evolved, probably because they're like, for the Swiss, I'll say it comes from their Lutheran nature. They're like quite educated. They're really educated people. Even if they're like valuing technologies and trade training quite highly, they are also quite literate in the sense that Lutherans as a religion are, to be a Lutheran, you need to be literate. You need to be able to read. So that's why literacy levels in Switzerland have been always high. And that's why they're quite a literate people and a quite literate and educated people. And for the Germans, it is because basically they had to rethink everything after the country was consumed by the madness of World War II. And I don't need to go into details of that. But anyway, why we're not in democracy? Simple. Electing is not voting. That's the first thing. Electing is not voting. And even when you elect, it's for example, here in Canada, the statistics on professions of our representatives, like I think if I remember well, the last time I checked, the most represented profession is doctor, medical doctor, and then lawyer, and then or you start to get the trend there, like really wealthy professional that can go back to their life at any time. You know, they can leave their work, start a campaign, and then a few months later go back to be doctors. Who cares? You know what I mean? So that's, for me, it's not the way it should be. Like, to be truly represented, a people needs this representant to be from its strengths, from the people. Like, if it's the bourgeoisie, if it's the upper class that represent the people, it's not representation right there. If you disagree, tell me in the comments. But I don't believe any country in the world right now are really truly democratic. So that change that I was talking about earlier, a few minutes ago, will come because of AI. And first, I think AI will be doing a great deal to destroy corruptions in countries that have endemic corruptions. It will be able to cipher into our bank accounts, the transactions between people. It will study our telecommunications, our exchange, and it will be extremely hard to keep corruption undercover. So that's the first. If you have less corruption, already any political system becomes more endurable. Let's put it that way. I had difficulty to find a word there. Sorry, guys. So once you have removed corruptions, what do you need to improve? You need to improve representativity. Sorry. And so that representativity will come, I think, from the draw. Hear me out. Why do I say the draw? Like, it means you randomly pick your representative. It needs to be criteria, obviously. We don't want criminals to be representative. We don't want people that have no interest in doing it. So it will be, in my mind, it will be a bit like a jury duty on steroid, obviously, because it will be longer. I imagine 4-year cycles with half of the chamber being renewed every 2 years. So like a 4-year term for the representative, but with a role every 2 years. And it should be also like among those randomly picked representative, they should elect among their rank an executive committee that will leave the representation to be exclusively the executive branch of the government. And the representation will be the legislative branch. And for the judicial power, well, I do believe that, yes, there is a need for professional in the law field. But do I believe that elected judge or appointed judge and appointed and elected prosecutor are actually doing a great job? No. We know they are biased. We know they're going to use their power to will and yield whatever they need. I truly believe there is truly compassionate and truly fair judge. I do believe they exist. And I do believe not every state attorney or prosecutors, whatever you want to call them, are not only looking at their bottom lines and their statistic, because for them that's what it is. They're being evaluated on their statistic. There's a great movie. It's called Fracture with Anthony Hopkins and what's his name, the Canadian actor, Ryan Gosling. I recommend that movie, by the way. Great movie, Fracture. It's about a guy that kills his wife, and then like he goes on and he ridicules the prosecutors. He ridicules the state because they're basically clueless. Anyway, like, really good movie. I don't want to spoil anything. Just watch it. So for the judiciary system, I definitely believe there should be some changes. I don't want to go too deep into that in this video, but for the political side, the government itself, by removing any type of appointment, any type of election, by replacing it with a simple draw, by the draw, you'll already solve a lot of issues. Plus, I do believe AI will be a great tool in that circumstances. I'm gonna tell you why. So the only advantages I see, and I do believe you could see it too, and a lot of people see it, for like career politicians, is sometimes they do actually know what they're talking about, especially when it's about politics, constitutional rights. They're usually like, there's a reason why there's a lot of doctors and a lot of lawyers, because it requires a lot of like knowledge about the law and about what you can do and cannot do. And usually those people already have that knowledge. It doesn't mean you couldn't get it. It just means they do have it. And on top of that, they're rich. That allows them to campaign. Well, we went over that already. So by introducing commoners, I really believe that's the correct word, like, because there will be true commoners in there. There will be people that the last time they opened a book, it was in grade 5. And some of them don't care. And it's fair that we have them in the government. And I'm going to tell you why it's fair. It's because if we don't have that kind of people we don't represent them, they will lose interest. They'll lose interest into the political system, and they will go into the trenches. What are the trenches? Conspiracy theory. And to be honest, conspiracy theories these days could be old as a badge of honor, because as soon as something is being like tagged as a conspiracy theory these days, end up being true like a few days later, or a few months, or a few years. So that's why I think like we need to involve everybody, especially in representation. And it's okay if you don't want to do it. It's not like mandatory, like a jury duty. In my mind, should be voluntarily. Remuneration should be comparable to the profession you left. So if you were a doctor and you were making like $300,000 a year or whatever or more, well, you'll receive a compensation that will be equivalent to that. And if you were like a car mechanic making 80,000 a year, well, you'll receive 80,000, maybe some allowance to cover some expense, and that's it. So AI, why AI will be so useful? Sorry, I didn't finish that. AI would be so useful because you have those people that don't know anything about politics. It's all new for them. But with an AI assistant, as an agent, as an assistant, it will help them navigate the difficulties. And AI will be able to present the subject, the topics, hopefully and partially. That's a question of alignment of the AI, but another topic we could cover in another video. By the way, I strongly encourage, if you're watching this video, please leave me a comment. Tell me what you think, especially about that subject. The subject of what should be next, what should be my next video. I have plenty of ideas, but I want to hear what you want to hear about, you know, what you want to hear about. Tell me, and I'll try to collect my ideas and put them together for you to make a video. So alignment of the AI will need to be proper, obviously, but you can easily imagine even yourself being in one of those situations, being a representative, having an AI to help you. I'm sure you could achieve it. I'm sure you will be able to be a good representative. I know I would. So I feel it's time to buckle up this video. Political system will evolve 1% with AI. I don't know from which direction it will come from. We'll definitely go through some grim times. There will be some turmoil. There will be some dictatorship. There's already dictatorships that are taking advantage of AI. Big example is China with facial recognition, social credit, and so on. But in the long term, in the 10, 20 years horizon, I do believe AI will be a great addition to our political system. Thanks again for watching. Don't hesitate. If you're still here, please drop a comment, just a smiley, drop a thumbs up. I appreciate that. You take care, my friend, and have a good night.